Hi, I'm Miss Marsh and I'm a history teacher at Whitley Abbey Secondary School, and I just wanted to share with you some ideas about how to remember, in particular, names and dates. And if you're anything like me, your brain like a sieve, that can be very difficult on a day-to-day level, let alone when you're in an exam and have that pressure. One of the things that's really useful when it comes to revising and remembering stuff, and that's from your shopping list, when you're in the supermarket, right to in that exam, names and dates are needed for backing up and for using as evidence. One of the things that really is crucial is to know how you actually learn and how you best can remember things and can revise. And one of the ways that you can do this is, we'll demonstrate for you. You do need, however, a scrap bit of paper, a pen or pencil and a timer. So you might need to pause me here so that you can actually get those things, so run off if you need to grab them. What you now need to do, now that you've got those equipment, is write 1 to 12 down the side of your piece of paper, because there's 12 jokes. And next to those 12 jokes, you are going to rank them, the jokes that you see and hear. Number 1, if you think they're terrible. 5, if you think they're alright. 10, if they made you laugh and you think they're funny. Now, I will say, I didn't make these jokes up, so I won't be offended if you find them not very funny. So, jokes. Let's see then. So, I'm not going to read them out. Obviously, if you want to read them out loud to yourself, go ahead. So I'll be quiet now so you can start judging them. Remember, there's 12 jokes. And if you need to remember, it's 1 is terrible, you didn't think they were funny at all. 10 is they're hilarious. Off you go. Okay, so hopefully you've rated them, found some of them funny, if not all of them. Some of them are pretty poor, aren't they? But what I'd like you to do now is to take your top 3 or 4 jokes that you found hilarious, whether you gave them a 10 or 9, 8, whatever were your top 3 or 4 jokes, and just to sort of circle the number of those jokes, because, if we click onto the next page, if you have joke numbers 2, 4, 11 or 12 as your favourite jokes, you thought they were funny, you are more of a kinesthetic learner. If, however, you had numbers 1, 6, 8 or 9 as your favourite jokes, you are a more visual learner. And if you had 3, 5, 7 or 10, you're a more auditory learner. Now, what does that actually mean? Because obviously, if you've never heard of these terms before, well, and this is why also you'll see none of my GCSE Year 11s helping with this video, but my Year 7s, because they're more able or happy to form the part of. Visual learner is literally this. You prefer to learn visually, so through looking, through seeing things. If you're an auditory learner, then you prefer listening to instructions, listening through perhaps revising, revision. And if, like Rowan here, you like doing things, you're a kinesthetic learner, which means in order to revise, you need to actually be doing something to help you remember. Now, one of the things you'll find is that no one tends to be just one actual learning style. I, for example, am very much a visual learner, but I have to also write it down, so that sort of is in part kinesthetic as well. For example, if I'm going around the supermarket, unless I've written a list, I won't remember a single thing pretty much I need, and I go home with all random things and realise I can't even make dinner. So I will write a list. Even if it's in my pocket, however, I very rarely get it out. Just the act of writing it down means I tend to remember it. Does mean I walk around the supermarket doing this, because I'm imagining that note in front of me, that list. However, it helps me to get the things I want, and it can also help you in your exam. So once you know what style you are, it really is extremely useful for revising and remembering those names and dates. Just to help you then clarify what kind of learner you are, because it might not be 100% clear yet, if you have a look at this, oh, not yet, oh, go back, just remembered what you have to do, and once I tell you what you need to do, this is where you need your timer, so get it ready, have it set to 0. You are going to have to pause this video when you see the next picture, and you have got to time how long you take to see the face in the cocoa beans. So, as soon as you see the cocoa beans, pause this video, time how long it takes you to see the video, to see the human face, then come back to us. Okay. Okay, so you now know how long you've taken to spot the face, and the face is, here it is at the bottom, so hopefully you all managed to spot that. What this means, now that you know how long it took you, if you were within a minute, so less than a minute to actually spot the human face, you are tended towards a visual learner. If it's between 1 and 2 minutes, again, you're more of an auditory learner. If it's between 2 and 3 minutes, you're more of a kinesthetic learner. If you didn't spot it, oops, maybe try again later or with a different picture, because there's lots of them you can find on the internet if you want to do something similar. But as I say, there's no set definitive one for most people. Usually a person is one of them for the majority and then leans towards another one as well. But the thing is, when you're revising, if you know roughly which one you think you prefer, try it. Then try some of the other techniques that I'll show you as well. Because so long as you're using the history material, each time you try a different technique, you are actually revising at the same time, so it doesn't hurt. But as I say, it's much better if you can start off with the one that you think you're best at. Really does help you to remember. Now, some of these different techniques then for actually remembering names and dates. One of them, as you can see here, this is a more audio and visual method of learning, is actually flashcards. And what the girls have done, do you mind if I borrow one? This is for the GCSE topic Rise of Hitler, and you've got all your subtopics written down on a flashcard. So Lauren here is trying to revise, and she's revising this Rise of Hitler. So Jamie very kindly is holding up the flashcards, the subtopic, to prompt then Lauren to talking about the end of World War I. Now, as it so happens, they're actually both historians, so Jamie could know the answers without actually having them on the back. But this is where it's really useful for 2 reasons. One, you can actually practice this with anybody. It could be a parent, a friend, doesn't have to be someone who actually studies history. Also, when you're making these flashcards, so you're subheading, all the detail on the back, you're still revising, you're actually condensing down your notes, so it's a great way of revising as well in the first instance. So there is a bit of, as I say, audio, visual and kinesthetic in the actual making of them. And you could do it with subheadings, you could do it with dates, doesn't matter which way round you do that. Another technique you could use, and we've got Amy here practicing away at doing this, because these skills do need practicing as well. And this is a more visual, kinesthetic type of learning. And these are, well, there's lots of names for them. There's brainstorm, there's mind maps. Doesn't matter what you call them, but one of the best ways to do it, I find, and I did this in my GCSE, so this is the topic again, Rise of Hitler. You've got all the subheadings around it. And I did actually put these up in my bedroom. And so you can, every day, I can visually see, because I know that's the type of learner I am, all these subheadings that I have to try and remember when I'm talking about the Rise of Hitler. What I then went on to do, because obviously that's not enough in a GCSE exam, is I then took each subheading and I actually added the detail to it. And again, this way of writing down repetitive writing really helps me because I'm a visual learner. If, however, you're more of an auditory learner and a bit more of a kinesthetic learner, this might be more your cup of tea. So we've got here students practicing or have been practicing hot seating, and again you can do this with friends who maybe aren't studying history or parents, so long as you give them the notes like we did with the flashcards, so they can help you, actually prompt you if you've forgotten something or if you're not sure of the answer for something. Now Jade here had to, for 1 minute, talk about a particular topic, so talk about one of those subheadings for 1 whole minute. Doesn't sound too much of a challenge, but a minute's an awfully long time. Right, so last technique then you might like to use, and this is one again is a favourite of mine because I'm very much a visual person, and that is the old-timey but a goodie, the timeline, okay? And that is exactly what I've done here. And what's really important if you want a C grade or above, whilst yes you need to remember the dates and the events for your evidence, it is really important that you've got the analysis as well. And that's why in my timelines I have the date, event, person, detail and the column for analysis. And I did do this for my GCSE exams, and my bedroom walls were covered with it, but yeah, I'm sad. I did take them down obviously afterwards, and I haven't actually kept them, which was a shame given that I'm now talking about it, but I didn't remember them. And another thing I had to do, again, this is because I'm visual and kinesthetic, was I would literally have to repetitively write down what it is I'm trying to remember over and over again. And I did this all the way through into my degree as well. And this is how I'd remember names and dates. Hopefully then you've thought about what type of learner you are. There's some different techniques depending on the type of learner you are and to how you might like to do it. And lastly, I just hope that really has helped you, and good luck in your exams. Remember, history just isn't just about the names and dates. If you want that seen above, don't forget the analysis, but just good luck.